welcome to the channel Jane Reads. My name is Jeanette and I am glad that you have clicked on this video today. Thank you. Today I am doing an author spotlight video on one of my favorite authors, and that is Lynn H. Blackburn. I am so excited to talk about these books that I have read by her. So I have my notes with all her books and kind of just a brief summary, and then I will tell you which ones I recommend to you. But spoiler alert, I recommend any of them. Okay, so Lynn H. Blackburn writes romantic suspense. Her debut was published in 2015 with Love-Inspired Suspense. She has 10 full-length books published and 3 novellas to date as of November 2025. My first book by her was her first full-length book, and that was Beneath the Surface, which is book 1 of the Dive Team Investigation series, which I will talk about in a minute. I read this in March 2018, and I gave it 5 stars, and I couldn't wait to pick up more of her books. So I read this series as it was being released, so she made me wait to read more by her. And okay, but her very first book, as I said, was a Love-Inspired Suspense, and that was Covert Justice, which came out June of 2015. I read it just this past August in 2025, and I gave it 4 stars. So we are following Blake Harrison is rescued from a car crash by a mysterious woman, only to discover that his factory has been compromised by criminals. FBI agent Heidi is undercover to catch the cartel and protect Blake, but her growing feelings for him complicates matters. When an abduction puts Heidi in direct danger, the true threat becomes clear. I enjoyed getting to know the characters and how the story progressed to show the time it takes to investigate. This also helped make the romantic relationship felt realistic as it took months to progress. However, I do wish we'd seen more of the relationship develop on the page rather than being told about the development. But the mystery kept me guessing. Then her second book was Hidden Justice, which was another Love-Inspired Suspense. It came out 2 years later in June of 2017. And again, I read it in this past August. I gave it 4 stars. And we are following Caroline, who is the sister of Blake that we met in Covert Justice. So they're best to read kind of after each other, because Hidden Justice spoils the relationship from Covert Justice, or Hidden Legacy spoils the relationship from Covert Justice. So in Hidden Legacy, Caroline arrives at home to a ransacked house, and it quickly becomes apparent that either her or the child in her custody is being targeted. So local detective Jason is assigned the case, and Caroline and Jason have a history. They are forced to deal with what happened between them in the past that fractured their relationship, while trying to figure out who is targeting Caroline or the child and why. I was so invested in this story and did not want to put it down. I gave it 4 stars. So then her first full-length series, as I said, was the Dive Team Investigations. This series follows volunteers on a county dive team who are drawn into various investigations, underwater recoveries, murder, conspiracies, while also dealing with personal demons, past trauma, and their faith. I loved this group of characters. Each one was unique and had their own personality. The group worked really well together, each bringing strengths and being open to hearing each other's perspectives. So in book 1, which I said came out in March 2018, I've read this book twice and I gave it 5 stars both times. I was just hooked right from the beginning. What begins with the discovery of a dead body leads to so much more when Leah's life is threatened multiple times. Homicide investigator Ryan sets out to protect his best friend's sister, who is Leah, and figure out who is behind the attacks on her. He doesn't realize how this interaction is going to change his future. The mystery and suspense kept me captivated. Then book 2 came out November of 2018, so she didn't make me wait that long. And it is In Too Deep. This was also a 5-star read for me. I have read it twice, 5 stars both times. So this book opens with the dive team being called to recover a body and a car that has gone into the lake. It appears to be suicide until they discover words on a victim's body. And the message leads to so many questions. What do these words mean? Adam and Sabrina have been friends with each other for quite a while and have feelings for the other, but they're hesitant to share what their feelings are in case the other one does not reciprocate. How long can they keep their feelings at bay? This story is fast-paced and suspenseful. As the team digs deeper into the investigation, the threat gets more deadly. Someone is determined to keep them from discovering their secret. I did not want to put this book down until I had all the answers. Then we move into book 3, which is One Final Breath. This one came out September of 2019, so almost a year after In Too Deep. Again, I gave it 5 stars when I initially read it. I gave it 5 stars the second time around. So this one follows investigator Gabe and the dive team captain Anissa, who we have met in books 1 and book 2, because we follow the whole friend group throughout all 3 books. They have a complicated history, but when Anissa's fractured past collides with Gabe's investigation of a shooting, they must work together to catch the murderer before someone else dies. While I enjoyed the mystery aspect, it was the romance between Gabe and Anissa that really pulled me in. I liked that Gabe took the risk and shared his feelings, even though he wasn't sure how she would react. I also appreciated there was no big disagreement or misunderstanding that would cause the rift in their relationship. I felt like I was right there with the team trying to solve the mystery. The cold case story pulled at my heartstrings and had me shedding tears a few times. Her next series was the Defend and Protect series, which is a 3-book series plus a novella, which I do not have a physical copy of. This series focuses on U.S. Secret Service and related protective detail agents, high-stakes crime, and the interplay of faith, duty, and relationships. Each book features a Secret Service agent, a romantic interest, and a suspense plot that could involve internal threats, sabotage, betrayal, or attacks. The stories are interconnected by shared characters and the same setting. So book 1 of the series is Unknown Threat. This was released March of 2021. I read it in 2024 and I gave it 5 stars. 3 Secret Service special agents have died in unusual circumstances in the past 10 weeks. Luke is devastated by the loss of his friends and colleagues, and his inability to locate the killer feels like a personal failure. He's an expert at shielding others, but now the protectors are in need of protection. FBI Special Agent Faith is driven to succeed and confident in her ability to solve every case she's assigned. She is being put in charge of the investigation into the unprecedented attacks, and with Luke's life in danger, the stakes have never been higher. But it's hard to know how to fight back when you don't know who the enemy is. As more agents are targeted, Luke and Faith have to work together to bring a killer to justice and prevent any more names from joining their fallen brothers and sisters on the Wall of Honor. Can they do it, and how will they do it? I was so invested. Then book 2, Malicious Intent, was released in March of 2022. I also gave this book 5 stars. And childhood sweethearts reconnect. Even after 15 years, the feelings are still there. Ivy is being attacked when Gil and his partner arrive to question her about an incident. The reunion isn't the moment that either one of them imagined, but it puts them together. And Gil's protective instincts are immediately on high alert. I was invested in stopping whoever was after Ivy and questioning who could be responsible. The group of characters kept me absorbed in this story. Their friendship, the support of one another, and fun, teasing banter between them made me love this group. And then there is a novella. Oh, sorry, there's 2 novellas for this series. So there is a novella which comes between books 2 and 3 called 2.5. The title is Deadly Objective. This was released in March. No, it wasn't. This was released in November of 2022, and it was part of the Targeted Novella Collection with Lynn H and Natalie Walters. I gave this book 3 stars. I'm not a huge novella fan. So Emily is a physical therapist to the vice president's 16-year-old son, Mason. Liam is a Secret Service agent assigned to Mason. We quickly learn that Emily and Liam have become friends somewhat over various encounters due to their mutual work with Mason, the son. When an attack happens at the vice president's house, everyone is taken to a safe house. It is then decided that Mason would be best protected by going on a camping trip previously planned with Liam. Emily gets roped into going. I did not know any of these characters prior to reading this story, but I did really enjoy getting to know Liam and Emily. So I read this book before I had started this series because I read it in the Targeted collection. So then the next novella is novella 2.75, and it is Out of Time. This was also released as part of a novella collection. It's the Heroes in the Crossfire with Lynette Eason, Elizabeth Goddard, and Lisa Harris. And then it was released individually in April of 2025. So I did not read it until April. Some kids have gone missing, and the agent's trying to determine where they are, and why Hope was the last person their mother called. There was a scene that literally gave me a jump scare as I was reading. Like it happened. I was like, what? Yeah. I really enjoyed this one. I did only give it 3 stars because it's a very short novella, but I really liked it because it provided faith. Wow, that's a hard name to pluralize. Wow, English is hard. This is Hope's story, who is Faith's sister from Unknown Threat. Okay, then the last full-length book, which is book number 3, Under Fire. This one released March 2023, and this time we are focusing on the U.S. Secret Service Special Agent Zane, who is assigned to protect the president at the Raleigh fundraiser. Wow, it's not Raleigh. At the Raleigh fundraiser, reuniting him with his best friend, Special Agent Tessa, whom he secretly cares for. Tessa, having overcome significant personal challenges, now faces the possibility that her past may resurface in her role as a liaison between the Raleigh office and the president's detail. Zane refuses to let Tessa go through this alone, but can he stand by the woman he loves and protect the president from the mounting threat at the same time? The suspense kept me guessing, but I found I cared more about spending time with the characters we had previously met in earlier stories. This was not my favorite couple of the series, but I did enjoy seeing the relationship progress in a positive direction. So we get a lot of answers about these two that we've kind of were hinted at in books 1 and 2, and now we kind of finally see everything kind of be resolved and let us know what really happened between them. So while I enjoyed it, I really was more about the side characters in this one. Okay, then we have her current series, which I only own book 1 of. So her current series is Gossamer Falls. This is set in a small North Carolina mountain town. It features a group of siblings and cousins. Each book features a different couple dealing with romance, danger, and a faith journey, while the interconnected setting and the characters tie the series all together. So book 1 is Never Fall Again. This was released March of 2024, and I read it just this year, and I gave it 5 stars. Now, I'm not going to say that yet. So in this one, we are following Landry, who is the artist in residence at the Haven at Gossamer Falls, North Carolina, who is ready to settle down and provide a safe home for her daughter, Eliza. She hires Cal, a local former Marine, to build their house. Although Cal is drawn to Landry, past heartbreak makes him wary of getting involved. When Landry's pottery is destroyed in a suspicious fire, she and Eliza face new threats, putting their future and Cal's resolve to the test. This felt more romance than suspense, but I didn't care because I quickly grew to like these main characters and really became invested in them. I loved that Cal asked Landry if he could pray for her in the middle of a frightening situation. Like, let's take time to pray about this. He stole my heart. I just really, really liked him. So I gave this book 5 stars. Then there is a novella that goes with this one between books 1 and 2, and that is called Downfall. It was released in November of 2024 as part of the Cornered novella collection with Lynette Eason and Natalie Walters. And then I think it's being released individually since then, or is going to be. I think. I did read this before I read this book, which I do not recommend doing. So we are following chef Cassie Quinn, who gets an offer she can't refuse to fill in as chef at an exclusive mountain resort. But when the kitchen is destroyed and it becomes clear Cassie is in danger, she's forced to accept the help of her ex-boyfriend, Detective Donovan Bledsoe, to find the culprit and keep her safe. I read this, as I said, before Never Fall Again, and I felt lost trying to figure out who all the side characters were. I highly recommend reading this after reading Never Fall Again, because this introduces you to all the characters, the family, how they're all interconnected to each other, like who's siblings, who's cousins, who's aunts. Yeah, you need to read this book for that, because in Downfall, I was like, wait, who are these guys? Like, there were so many characters. Okay, then the next book, book 2, is Break My Fall, which was just released this past March, and I gave it 4 stars. So we are following Dr. Meredith Quinn, who has returned to Gossamer Falls to practice dentistry and help undeserved communities, despite the area's reputation for drug trafficking. Police Chief Grayson Ward, emotionally closed off after past losses, feels vulnerable when Meredith enters his life. Staying close protects her, but challenges his ability to remain guarded. Will Meredith help Grayson reconnect, or will their circumstances leave him broken? There were times that I really loved the main couple, but at other times I felt like one or both overreacted to things that happened between them. The Quinn family is very protective and supportive of one another, and this really came out at times. Some of my favorite parts were the siblings' cousins recounting memories of some of the things they did as kids. They just were hilarious and made me laugh. So while I didn't fully root for this, or the main couple kind of annoyed me at times, I still really enjoyed this book, and I gave it 4 stars. And this book will be continuing, or this series will be continuing with book 3, Last to Fall, which is due to be released in March of 2026. And all I know about this is that Finally, we are getting Mo and Bronwyn's story. We have met these two in earlier books, and it has been hinted that they have a history that they've been keeping silent about. But what is their story? I cannot wait to read that one. Personally, you can't go wrong with picking up any Lynn H. Blackburn books, especially if you like romance and suspense interwoven between them. I recommend reading her in publication order. I know this is not what I did, but I highly recommend it because past characters tend to make cameos in later books, even from one series to the next. So I was so excited when I was reading this book from her Defend and Protect series because characters from her Dive Team Investigation series made appearances in it. And we've also had mention of a couple of them in this series. So they all kind of interweave between each other, which I really, really like. But if you don't want to read in publication order, just read the series in order because storylines build. So in book 1 of Dive Team, you meet kind of all the characters that are in all 3 books, like the main characters, you meet them all in book 1. So then you've gotten to kind of know them a little bit, and as you go further into the series, you really get to know them. And the exact same thing happens in the Defend and Protect series. You meet them all in book 1, and then you kind of get to know them more. Like, as I said, this is book 1. I've put them out of order now. You meet them all in book 1. And then by the time you get to book 3, by the time you get to book 3, you really have gotten to know them, and it wraps up the story of characters from this one. And so far, her Gossamer Falls series is going the exact same way. We have met Mo and Bronwyn in book 1. They were also very active in book 2. And book 3, you're finally getting their story. So yes, I highly recommend reading her series in order. Now, it's hard to pick favorites, honestly, because I've given so many of them 5 stars. This series still holds a place in my heart. This is the only series that I have read twice, and all 3 books have been 5 stars, both read-throughs, because I just love these characters and connect with them. I really, really enjoyed it. And then book 1 of Gossamer Falls was 5 stars. And book 1 and book 2 of the Defend and Protect series was 5 stars. So as I said, you can't really go wrong. Have you read Lynn H. Blackburn, or have it intrigued you enough to want to try some of her books? I would love to chat in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and have a great day. Bye.